They better, because the corrupt banks that run England and the U.S. and Europe are going to continue to stage terror attacks if we don't. Now continuing here, looking at 7/7, looking at 9/11, look at Sibel-Edmonds. She's an FBI translator translating NSA communiques. She testifies to the 9/11 Commission in closed doors that she heard the leaders of al-Qaeda on the phone with the CIA being directed in the year leading up to the day of 9/11 in sex slaves, weapons, drugs, laundered cash. Of course, we know al-Qaeda was created by our own government, so that makes sense. And she tries to bring that to her supervisors and is told to shut up. So there's not an analyst. There's somebody listening to all of this going on. And there's hundreds and hundreds of other people who have seen and witnessed the same thing. Let's look at 7/7 first. Of course, the 7/7 bombings in London, for those that don't remember, used to sell the Iraq war and more. Break down the big blaring issues with that, sir.
Right. Okay. Well, 7th of July 2005, London bombings went off, and there were 3 underground stations and a bomb that went off on Tavistock Square. Few things that happened. 52 people were killed, plus 4 others, which was the alleged suicide bombers. Now, there was no inquiry into who committed the crimes. Tony Blair immediately said that there would be an inquiry would be a ludicrous diversion. Now, that's another disgrace. And instead, we've been told who is guilty, and we've had a diversionary inquiry later on down the line, just about the intelligence failures, where the real agenda is simply to conceal the truth, as you say, just as it was in the Hutton inquiry for Dr. David Kelly. Now, there was a poor quality and anonymous official version of the London bombings, and that's deeply suspicious and unacceptable. And add to that, there's never been the proper inquiry, so you've got big problems there, Alex. And for the government to give us one narrative of 7/7 without allowing all the other competing narratives to be officially heard in the process, it's simply insulting. It's a disgrace. Now, a key thing here is the mock terror exercise that occurred. Now, this is fantastic, this. Peter Power, advisor consultant, when all the bombs go off, shortly afterwards, we're talking an hour or so after the bombs have gone off, this guy, Peter Power, from Advisor Consultants, goes on TV and announces this. He says that this is amazing. The terror attack, the terror training drill that we are into at the moment, where there's 1,000 staff involved, was simulating bombs going off at the exact same stations and locations as actually happened. Now, in statistical terms, Alex, it's as certain can be that a drill exercise matching the exact same locations and dates of the actual bombs, that could not have occurred by mere coincidence. Now, was that investigated? No. Should it have been? Well, you're damn right it should.
And by the way, we're going to break. We got 2 more segments.
Offers the insight that's needed to find out really what happened. And it's a disgrace that it...
All right, stay there, sir. We got to go.
Look in my eyes, what do you see? The cult of personality. I know your anger.
You know, a lot of people engage in delusional, magical thinking. They think that you can just decide there aren't false flag terror attacks. I mean, you read the history of France and England fighting with each other and others. They were constantly doing it. Constantly doing dirty tricks against each other. Blowing up an ammo dump and then blaming it on the other. This is war. The issue is war is now being used against us domestically by our own governments. That's an act of war, shipping tens of thousands of firearms into Mexico, then blame it on the Second Amendment. And it's admitted the government did that. Okay, people, we need to grow up or they're going to keep using this tool. So this is a short 5-minute segment, sir. We got one more little 5-minute segment, and we'll have to have you back. But continuing, talking to Tony Farrell, who was in his police department and also worked in the federal government as a top terror analyst, ran into all this false flag history and information. You'd gotten into the drills of 7/7 with the exact same bus, exact same place, exact same time, exact same trains, exact same place, exact same time. Actuaries have been done. It's in the thousands of trictillions. That's, billions of times all the sand grains in the world. It's nearing infinity. I mean, it's the equivalent of finding a unicorn, a leprechaun, and Santa Claus in your backyard jumping rope. It doesn't exist. But please continue.
Yeah, the spineless, anonymous Home Office official version, that had flaws in it that subsequently the government had to admit that there were lies. The 740 ghost train that went from London to St Pancras that the patsies were supposed to be on, but they didn't catch because the train never ran, and that was only an independent researcher that found that out later on and shamed the government. They had to change it, but they couldn't get the story to fit. So that whole sort of patch of the report is ludicrous.
And of course, why run the drill? Well, you've got some young Arab gentlemen who are working, with the government, who are teachers and things. They're taking part in a patriotic anti-terror drill. Uh-oh, something's going to happen. Yeah.
And then, Alex, I'm afraid at least one or two of those, patsies were taken out and assassinated at Canary Wharf is the most plausible explanation. I certainly don't believe they were on the trains and the military style explosives on the trains. A far more plausible explanation than the so-called explosions on in the back packages that they self-detonated themselves in wonderful synchrony. So all of that seems totally ludicrous. The profiles of these bombers, the personification of these people was not such that these were going to commit suicide. And if they've got videos that purport that they were, I actually believe that was part of a training drill. So there's so many things wrong with it. And I think we look at the G8 summit on the day at Glen Eagles, and what on earth was Tony Blair doing a few hours later, coming on record when the police had announced that we don't know who's done this yet, but Tony Blair does. He knows this is being done in the name of Islam. Now, I think that is a disgrace. I think that is unacceptable. But I wish just good people in the UK would actually see it, because I think they're blind.
Well, it gets worse. At the Tavistock Institute bus bombing, it turns out there were people with fake bandages on who were seen before and then after with them off, covering their whole faces, being bandaged up. This was off the charts, insane and openly staged. And the reason they had to admit they were doing drills is because people who were part of the drill then start questioning what happened, but by seeing an authority figure admit the drill, then they think it's all out in the open. That's why Larry Silverstein admits they blew up Building 7. We'll be right back.